Hey y'all, whether it's morning, evening, or afternoon, I'm just glad that you guys had decided to vibe with E. Yes, the one and only E. Hey y'all, hope y'all having an amazing day, feeling amazing, and doing amazing things. And if not, it's okay. Bad times don't last forever. This is just for the moment because good times are coming into your favor. So, without further ado, I hope you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy hearing my voice. As always, today's Bible today is always something special. So, without further ado, I want y'all to sit back, relax, enjoy hearing my voice. If you want to go, hope y'all got y'all AirPods, Beats, whatever the case may be, turned up. If you're in the car, wherever, make sure you got me on full blast because, as always, like I said, every Bible today is something special and it's very important. Okay? So let's get into it. Today's Bible today is based on education and academic achievement. The reason why I wanted to do this, same thing like I said with last week's Bible today, by it being the summertime, I wanted to focus on more within children, especially in places with impacts with their education. And also as me working with a program that is willing to help children within their development, within their education and achievement, as well as letting them see the world within different many lenses as possible, such as within the business side, their mental health side, what they want to be in life, as well as preparing them for the real world, such as preparing them with soft skills and things of that nature. So I felt as though this vibe today was very important to discuss, like I mentioned. So y'all could basically say that July is dedicated to educational standpoint because that's where I stand at. I'm really in tune within education, especially when it comes to children's education, because children needs their education and they deserve to get the best education regardless of where they're at, where they're from, who they are, etc., etc. So let's get into the 5 W's as always. So the first one is, who are the key stakeholders in a child's education and how do their roles influence academic achievement? So this basically saying who is in their corner and who are in the children's corner and how do they impact the children's life when it comes to their education and academic advancement. So the key stakeholders in a child education includes parents/guardians, teachers, school administration, and policymakers. Parents and guardians provides foundational support and encouragement. Teachers develop instructions and in mentorship. School administrators ensures a conducive learning environment, and policymakers shapes the educational framework and resources management. So these people are the ones that are in charge within our children's education. So you know how to say it starts from at home. So it starts within the parents and the guardians. The parents are the ones that help them learn the basics. So when they get to school, they'll be already prepared and ahead and know what's going on. The teachers are the ones that refresh it and teach them new things, as well as the school advisors. They are making sure that the children are in a safe and well conducted environment, as well as getting the tools that they need. And that's when the big people come in, which is the policymakers, are making sure that they're shaping the educational firm and resources managements are being conducted. So everybody's working together, and little do they know. They come together to influence children's academics achievement by shaping the quality of their education and the support system into place. For instance, parents and guardians can provide tutoring assistance, teachers can provide one-on-one guidance and support, and school administrators can provide resources and access to additional funding. However, like I mentioned, when it came to last week's Bible today within youth and mentorship, sometimes when it comes to funding within certain schools, such as city schools, counties, charter schools, private schools, things like that, sometimes the funding is hard because you don't know who is entitled to have what amount of money and how much can you put the money in within, certain parts of the school when it comes to a child education. However, that's when let me make sure I don't say it wrong. the school administrators find ways to get these endorsements as well as the funding. So hopefully that the policymakers and stuff too will be able to help them within getting the money that the kids deserve and getting the stuff that they need, books, pencils, all that, as well as for the teachers as well, because they need the materials to teach the children. So what are children's primary challenge in under-regional schools, and what strategies can address these issues? So children in under-resourced schools often face challenges such as inflation, access to quality learning materials, a lack of faculty, and high students to teachers' rates. So that being said, like I mentioned, the funding is very involved because they are facing challenges such as with inflation. They have not been getting the access to the quality learning materials, such as like up and running laptops, the boards, the smart boards for the teachers, books, and with any other material that the teachers may need for the children, and as well as the ratio. So it's more children than it is teachers. And to certain classes, I believe the maximum amount of students that a teacher can teach, I believe, is 30. If I'm not mistaken, allegedly. It's supposed to be 30. And college is different, because you can have a class up to 50 to 100 people that one professor or doctor can be able to teach. But versus within that elementary through high school level, I believe, allegedly, I have to do my research, it has to be, I think, 30 and under for one teacher. So that's a problem right there, because it should not be a lot of teachers, and it should not be a lot of, students, and it's not a lot of teachers. And that's messing up the ratio too, because that's one of the things that needs to be addressed, because it's like, within certain districts, like I know within where I'm from, teachers are not getting the resources that they need, and it's making them harder. It's making it harder for them to even teach their children, as well as making it harder for them to give them the access and tools that they need to succeed, because they're not getting what they're asking for. So they're fighting as well for the children to have their education and have like that good academic advance, but they really can't, because they're not getting the funding and stuff. And it's like, it's but so much that a teacher can handle and can do. And a lot of people be like, oh, you're a teacher, that's your job. Yeah, but nobody really understands a teacher's point of view, as well as getting to a deeper understanding of why things happen and how they're trying to maneuver everything while making sure that their students are getting the education and academic achievement that they're supposed to. So it is very hard. These issues can be addressed through increasing fundings, community partnerships, and targeting interventions such as after-school programs, professional development for teachers, and the integration of technology to enhance my learning. So by addressing these challenges, such as children education, environment, and outcomes, can be significant improved. For instance, a school may partner with a local organization to provide after-school tutoring and to mentor programs for disadvantaged students, or a student may invest in a technology program to provide access to online learning materials. So like I mentioned, when it comes to the materials that children need and things like that, sometimes it's either the school cannot afford it, so it's like they have to find fundings and find people to do it. I want to use an example such as the show, I don't want to mess up the name. I think it's called Abbing Elementary, if I'm not mistaken. That's a prime example of displaying how those teachers are willing to do any and everything in their power for their students. And it's so hard to get because of funding. Funding is impacted with everything that you do within your life, especially when it comes to within kids and you're dealing with like the community, with school and stuff like that. It's so hard to find funding because, it's not in the budget. Oh, this was in the budget. Like certain stuff has to be in the budget, and if not, you can't do it. Or you gotta you gotta figure it out on your own. Like You got to start fundraisers, or you got to find people that are willing to sponsor teachers. And I remember that episode they had, like, they were online. You had to have the best video to get, all this and that. And they did it, but it was just like, it should not be that way. But it is, if that makes sense. So, it's just so crazy. It's so crazy. Support the brand. It's just so crazy, guys. It's just so crazy. But that's why I say shout out to everybody who is an educator or who is working within the educational field, because it's hard, and it is our duty, y'all duty, to make sure that our children is getting the best education that they deserve, because they need it. Coming into this generation, it's a must that you have some type of education. If not, allegedly they'll say you stupid. You're nothing. And we don't want our children to grow up in an environment like that, because they are something. They are the future. And we need them. They are the people that they're next in line. Those are the ones that are preparing for what's to come. They are the ones that are, they are the ones that we need. They are the ones that we need to, we need to prepare them for what's to come overall. Basically, we need to get it, we need to get them out there, prepare them for the ins and outs, the good and the bad, because they all we have. And and by us being the new generation, you know how they joke online, say, excuse me, oh, it went too close. The mic was so close. How they say that we are the new generation of aunts and uncles, and the new generation of adults, period. We're the new generation of adults. So we have to prepare the younger generation, such as our siblings, nieces and nephews, whatever the case may be, that look, yeah, we played around, but now it's time to, like, buckle up, because this is ready to get real. It's ready to get real, as well as we have to make sure that we're doing any and everything in our power to display positivity, because y'all are watching us. We are y'all new role models now. We have to display nothing but as much positivity, but also, like I say too, within the podcast, this is raw and uncut. So you have to sow things raw and uncut out the mug, or whatever the case may be, because this is life. Especially when it comes to a child education and impacting their academics and achievement. That's a big deal. That's a real big deal, because, like I said, education is needed, and that's the one thing you can stand on. Nothing, I mean, don't get me wrong, as a person that is in college and, works, jobs on the side, you want your children, and you want the children to think a little deeper, because at times working those jobs gets tiring. And, you don't want to stay stagnant. You want to have something to say, this is yours. So, you go to school, trade school, whatever you got to do to get that career goal, to get whatever you want to do. A lot of children, when I speak to a lot of kids, they be like, they want to be rich, they want to be billionaires. They want to be somebody, and I applaud them for that. However, I tell them, you got to put that work in, and you got to start now, because it's not going to fall in your lap. That's every time I tell people, like, when you want something, you gotta go get it. It's not gonna fall in your lap. Like, you really gotta work hard. This hard work, dedication. It's at times where you are gonna fail, but it's okay. You just gotta try again. You gotta keep on until you get the results that you want. As well as when it comes to education, I'm not gonna lie to you. When it comes to education, it's no such thing as being perfect all the time. First of all, it's no such thing as being perfect anyway, because if that was the case, we'd all be the same. Nobody's perfect. However, certain areas within education, that's people's strong point. And then you have some people in certain places in education, it's not their strong point. For me, English and things like that, English literacy and stuff like that, my strong points. Not my strong points, I believe, though, is anything involving with science and mathematics, because it's not. It took me a minute. It took me a long time to finally understand, like, okay, this is not for me. But as many times, because I'm not going to lie to y'all, when you get older in college, you might have to fail a class or two to understand, okay, I gotta buckle up and get it together. And I tell people all the time, because at first I used to be ashamed to express my failures within certain obstacles in my life, especially when it comes to classes, because people always look at me like, oh, you so smart, you a nerd, you this and that. But nerds have hard times too. You know, we have our times. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I failed a class or two when I was at community college because, one, the pandemic. I'm a hands-on in-person learner. This learning the Zoom wasn't for me, as well as when it came to my siblings doing Zoom. I was my first, like, when it first happened, I was in my 12th grade year. My brother was in his 8th grade year, and my sister, she was in her, I want to say, I think she was in the 6th grade. Yeah, she was in the 6th grade. All of us in the house together trying to learn on Zoom, it was insane because we're all hands-on learning. Me, it had me like, oh my God, I really gotta sit here in front of a screen with my professors and teachers, and I'm losing my mind because it's like I'm used to being in person. This way it gets me engaged. When I'm online, that's another thing too. Online, people get distracted. Like, it wasn't it. You know, it's like some people, that's their itch, and some is not. That wasn't mine. However, when the pandemic lifted up and everything, and I started going to school, I was like, this is where I need to be at. This is where it's like, okay, I feel better. Because them classes I failed, y'all, during the pandemic, I was like, look, I got to take these in person once the pandemic lifted up because this ain't it. And once I did it and I understood what was going on and I took notes, I still was just like, I need to be in person. I need examples, boards, like, write it out. I need to imagine, you know, get a feel and grips of it. After that, y'all, I was able to pass it. Like, yes, I'm not ashamed to say I took statistics twice in college because it was hard for me to grasp, especially math. Oh, baby, I got to be in person. And that's how it is with certain children that dealt with the pandemic as well as even in person. A lot of children, a lot of people have different learning styles. When I heard my little sister and my little brother, their outcome of how it was from the pandemic versus when they came back to school, as well as with their friends, I was like, look, you see, us as the new adults coming up, we have to be the ones to help the children as well as navigate them within these things because, like I said, it's but so much that the teachers can do and the parents and guardians. So I know, like, you know, if certain children do not have older siblings, and that's okay. That's where also, mentioning from last week's episode, mentors come in. So, like, you know, children that don't have siblings, that's where the mentors come in to help them, you know, be on the team within their parents and the teachers, parents, teachers, and guardians to help them. So, you know, like I said, that's where also, like, I felt it okay. I'm working for a program that's willing to navigate children in the right place when it comes to learning soft skills and then learning the environment, mental health, and everything like that. It starts from home first. And I thank God that I was able to install that within my siblings because it's like, I'm not, like I said, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. But I'm glad I was able to display to them how serious education is and how necessary it is to have an education because if not, allegedly, quote unquote, you're nothing. You know, when, like, you gotta think too, like, kids are real big on music. Kids can be education can be through music as well. Certain lyrics that their favorite artists, rappers, or whatever say educates them as well, and it holds power to them. Like, you know, certain, like, even big artists, some of them didn't even go finish school or have a GED, but they're able to have something to stand on. But I feel as though as of right now, within the society that we're brought up in and living in and going through, we need education. We need to fall back on it because there's so much stuff changing as, like, you know, within, like, for example, Project 25, stuff like that, and stuff is changing. We gotta be able to do something. And we gotta be able to mold our children into the right direction. No matter how many times, you know, maybe if it failed, You gotta keep going. Because education and academic achievement is important. And they need it. Okay? So if you have children, siblings, nieces, nephew, or foster parent, or guardian, grandma, grandpa, cousin, uncle, whatever the case may be, you taking care of a child, teacher, whatever the case may be, it is. Keep in mind that you have to mold your children. You have to keep in mind that they're the future. They're the ones that need this. Those are the ones that we're putting all these jewels into, knowledge and everything to, because they need it. They need it. If anything else, people can say any and anything about them, but they cannot say they're not educated. That's one thing they cannot take away from them. Can't take away from them getting a middle school, diploma, a high school diploma, college degree or certification. Whatever. They can't take that away from you. That's one thing a person cannot and will not take away from you for you having education, point blank, period. And if somebody try, it's because they're mad, because they can't do it. But I say everybody can get it. It takes time. Yes, it takes time. Some people be like, I can't do it right now. Okay, cool. It's not too late, but don't wait too long, because, certain people can't do it for so long. But one thing we also not going to do is tear down another person for getting the education that they're getting. Some people say it's boring going back to school and doing that stuff, but hey, it may be boring to you, but to them it's not. This is what they dream for, their aspiration, or what the case may be. Or they realize, hey, I can't keep doing this. I can't be stagnant in this one position. So if I have to get to a higher position that I want to get to and make this amount of money, I got to go to school. Point blank, period. And in certain jobs, too, they want you to go to school to have at least a master's degree, depending on which field you're going to, because that's where the money is, and have some credentials such as certifications and stuff like that. So that's why us adults that are going to school or have been in school and everything like that, we need to mold this into our children, because they're the future and they need role models to see how it is. For example, when we were younger, when we were in middle school, elementary, we seen high school fairs, went to college trips and stuff, and here these people, real life people look like us, people look like you, or whatever the case may be, telling their story to you, because this is what they wanted. This is all they ever wanted. Or they realize, hey, if I want to be this person and be in this field, I got to do this. I got to do this. And I'm telling you, it's not easy. I stretched this enough. It's not easy. But when you put your best foot forward and keep going and keep going and keep going, hey, you're unstoppable. Yes, you're going to fail. Yes, you're going to fail. But that's why it's always good to go back or do it all over. Take it from a person that failed statistics one semester and failed environmental science another semester during the pandemic and was able to take both of those classes, two of the most hardest classes I felt as though as being an undergrad, to take at the same time before graduating, and was able to pass it. I'm telling y'all, all it takes is just, keep going and motivate yourself. Study. Y'all. When I tell y'all, first times I ever seen B's, the first time I ever seen a B on a test that I took in math, statistics, and as a college student, y'all, I flipped. I think I bought me a nice lunch that day, because you gotta reward yourself. At times when I say you gotta treat yourself onto even the little accomplishments you gotta give. As well as when it comes to our children, we gotta give them their flowers, give them their praise too, because it's hard. Education is hard. Anything involving, getting you into a predicament in your life to be great or to be that person you see yourself as, you gotta give yourself some praise. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, in the midst of getting this education on this road to succeed, to be successful, you're gonna have some bumps and bruises. Because I tell y'all, looking back when I did fail those classes, I was like, man, mind you, I went to community college. I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm hoping the pandemic will lift because I'm not an online learner. This is not for me. I'm hands-on. I like to be in person. I like to, when you're in person, I like to suck up the energy, the vibe. I like to get it. And that's what makes me keep talking, understand. And by me seeing and on the board and stuff like that, hearing the professor lay it out, because I know too, for professors, teachers, doctors, it wasn't it. Everybody was messed up. And Bust by able, now in college it's flexible. You could do Zoom in person, or hybrid is in person or Zoom. I'm not a hybrid person when it comes to school. Work life, love it. School, no. But y'all, this is, everything I'm saying is raw and uncut, and it's true from experience. Because you never know who been in these predicaments before. And it's okay to fail. It's a part of life and it's a part of education. But one thing I will say, keep going. Don't stop, keep going. So next, we're going to jump into when is the most crucial period for intervening in a child's education development to the maximum academic achievement. So this is where, what period in a child's life should we install the educational of development? So a child's education development is the most crucial time to develop, period for getting education developed into a child is during their early childhood years, particularly from birth to 8 years old. So, when people have children, when they start talking, that's where it gets to, okay, you need to learn your ABCs. What's your name? How to spell your name? When's your birthday? How old are you? What's your mom's name? Your dad's name? Guardian? That's where it gets the nitty gritty. Up until the age of 8, that's when they get to the second grade. That's when they get to, is either the second or the third grade. Let me think. First grade, I was 6. Yeah, third grade. So from when they start talking, so like a couple months old up until like the third grade, that's where the parents and guardians get involved deeply into starting the children off within the their child's educational development to maximize their academic achievement. So during this time, children develops foundational literacy, numerous, and social emotions, such as within learning skills, such as within the movie Inside Out. Y'all, that's a good movie to take your children to go see because it helps a lot with their social emotions, learning skills. You have anger, sad, joy, fear, disgust, all that. Take your kids to go see it. But first, I will say, before you go see Inside Out 2, you have to watch Inside Out, the first one, to understand how it is when a child develops, such as within education points and also within general as them growing up to be, from being a little kid, from a toddler, infant, toddler, preschool level, elementary level, middle school, adolescent, high school, young adult, everything in that nature. Because it's really, I was really intrigued. Really, really intrigued. And it's like, hey, this is crazy. But it's worth watching because it will help the children understand, okay, this is how they feel it. And it also help a child to understand why they feel the way they feel. So, the early interventions such as high quality preschool programs and early literacy activities are essential for setting the stage for long-term academic success. For instance, a high-quality preschool program can help children learn the skills they need for kindergarten, such as counting, matching, and realizing letters, which are essential for academic success. So with this being said, as though as soon as children start to talk, that's when I feel as though that's when the parents, the guardians are able to install the basic skills they need to know. What's their name, how to spell their name, birthdays, colors, shapes, stuff like that. Some kids are taught at home because they have homeschool too. there's a lot of people also fail to realize too, even though most parents and guardians don't have their children within like the public or private eye, they also have them in the comfort of their own home, because some children, are best to be at home, or the parent feels, oh, it's okay for safety reasons, my child is going to work from home. And I'm not really lying. A lot of times people too, when I was doing the research too, they say allegedly students that are from low income communities will not be as smart, or not be into education like that. But I feel as though that's allegedly, so that's like opinion, because as a person that grew up in a community that's like, it is urban, mixed with different cultures, but in a middle class community who didn't go to a private school but experienced going to a city school and county school, I was able to be up there with, so they say, the children that have a higher educational standpoint. And I didn't go to preschool. No, I didn't go to preschool. I learned this from at home. Then when pre-K and free-K came, I was on it. And that's the same way from me and my siblings as well. So that's another thing too I wanted to dig deep on too, but we're almost there. So I gave y'all a little teaser, but we're almost there. So, where are the disciplinaries and educational resources and opportunities that most invest, and how can they be monetized? So, disparities in the educational resources and opportunities are more invested in low income and rural areas where schools often lack necessary funding, qualified teachers, and essential faculties. This disparities can be monetized through equipment funding models, target support programs, and policies that offers additional resources to unserved communities, enhancing access to technology professionals development for educationers and community engagement activities can also help bridge this gap. So, for example, providing additional funds and resources to schools located in low-income communities can help ensure that students have the same access to technology as peers in the high-income community. So as I mentioned, like I just said, a lot of people always be like, oh, yeah, my child, or I know a child, or whatever the case may be, that goes to a school that's a private school. That's impacted with the high income. Low income would be allegedly certified as city schools. Prime example, I'm from Baltimore City. If you're new here, I'm from Baltimore. I went to school in the city, and then half of my high school year, literally the peak of my freshman year, I went to a county school, then transferred back to the city. I will say it's like pros and cons allegedly within this. Yes, from city schools, the school I went to, elementary school, I went there from elementary all the way up to middle school. Good. From the time being. You're going to have some bumps and bruises as well. But as I prepared for high school, I was good. Because where I'm from in the city, I don't know if every other school does, every other state does it for their district. We take, it's somewhat like a placement test to see where will you go for high school. And it's considered composite scores. And those scores impact with, okay, if you're able to, if you get a good score, period, you're going to a real good school. If you get the middle class, okay, you'll go to a middle class school. If you don't score good, you're going to the bare minimum school, what is considered in my city. And I always used to say, as I got older and I seen my brothers and sisters do it, I'll be like, sometimes the test, I feel as though was first of all, I don't even remember the test. I don't remember, because I feel like in middle school, we took so many tests, and you didn't know what was what, especially for the composite school. Mind y'all, that was years ago. So, I have no clue. But when I see my brothers and sisters take it, and I see their letters, I was like, ugh, wow. Taking a test, determine on what school to go to. So it's as well as preparing for college, you got to take SAT scores and all that. Your SAT scores have to be this good, and you have to have a certain GPA to go to this school. with preparing for high school, you would think they would do the same thing for GPA, but it was basically compared onto the composite scores. And that triggered a lot of children because a lot of children always wants to go. Most of the children allegedly that I went to school with, and then as my sister and brothers got older, wanted to go to the real, as in our city, the real popular schools, such as the schools that were known for their education, but also known as within the sports. So for low income schools that's in low income communities, they're willing to do the fundings. However, I feel as though they're not doing it fast enough, because these children deserve education. No matter where you're from, who you are, like I mentioned, the color of skin, whatever, your child deserves the best education, because they need that as they get older. They need that for just to have a representation of them. And one thing, like I said, once they have education, that cannot be taken away from them. As well as, even if they go higher, they get their associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's, doctorates, PhD, whatever. Nobody can take that away from them. That's one thing, nobody can take that away from them. And they could try to do any and everything else, but that's one thing you cannot take away from a child, is their education. And I feel as though no matter where you're from, that should not identify how smart you are. Because like I said, it's a lot of people that's famous that came from the slums, that's smart as ever. And that's why I'm real big on education, and I somewhat decided to dedicate the month of July to the first part of the July to education standpoint, because we need to let this be known. You don't hear enough about education, and when you do, it's not somewhat, I feel like allegedly it's somewhat not what I want to hear. It's not really what I want to hear, because it's like they're not digging a little deeper. And I feel as though we need to dig deeper, because our children is the next ones up, from elementary school all the way up to high school. Like I said, it's going to be some bumps in the road. We're human. It's okay. You fail, you're going to do it over. So you make sure you get it right and you master it. Because I had to realize that too. Like, you can't rush everything. In order for you to get it done, to make sure you understand and comprehend, you got to get it right. If you got to study crazy, you got to find study habits. And asking for help is one of the many things too when it comes to education that I feel as though within my generation and generations to come, we have a problem with doing, because we feel embarrassed. And I'm going to say this from a person that finally is able to express herself more and stuff. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay, because you're also not, if I know that this stuck with me a long time as I got older. If you don't ask a question in the class, somebody may have the same question as you and is afraid to ask it too. So you never know. Use your voice. Your voice is powerful, especially when it comes to education and any other source of aspect in your life that you want to use it for. Your voice is a gift. That's why God, or whoever you believe in, give it to you, because you're entitled to use it. It's a must. It's a gift. No matter how big or small your opinion is, it matters. This is just as well as how they say your vote matters. No matter what you do or say, everything you do matters. And if you think it might not be as big, it don't matter. You're still in that quartile. You're still in that percentile, because you matter. So for children that are listening to this, parents, guardians, older siblings, aunties, uncles, cousins, grandfathers, whoever listen to this, install this, enhance this in your children, in whatever your case may be, because they need it and they need us. Okay? They need us and they need it. So lastly, why do some children perform better academically than others, and which factors contribute to these differences? So some children perform better academically than others due to combinations of factors, including social, economic statuses, access to quality education, parental involvement, and individual learning differences. Children from well-off backgrounds often, allegedly, have more educational resources and support, while those disadvantaged backgrounds, allegedly, may face obstacles such as limited access to learning materials and support provided. Additionally, factors such as early childhood education, early childhood education, children's teachers' quality, and a child's health and well-being plays a crucial role in academic performance. For instance, students with access to quality childcare are more likely to attend and complete school, as well as higher academic performing levels. So with this case, it's saying like, why do some children perform better academically than others? Like I said, allegedly, I kept saying allegedly because, like I said, I went to school with some people that came up in the same community as I am and were advanced a little bit more than I was. Let alone, like I said, and also people fail to realize too, it starts from at home. The parents, guardians, whoever is taking care of a children or a child, us have to really be on top of our children when it comes to giving them the jewels and knowledge that they need to know, because especially if they're in our care, we're responsible for them to get the type of education and everything that they deserve because they need it. It's a must that they get all the educational tools that we're guiding them to this train to success, because if not, then it's not. It's like it's gonna be no turning, unless, I'll say this: at times, yes, most parents and guardians cannot be there. However, that's like I said, if it's more people living in the household and they on their education, siblings can help as well. If other people living there too, cousins, aunties, and stuff, they on their education as well, it starts from at home. Point blank. Period. We have to help the children in some type of shape or form because they're the future and they need this. They have to go to school. They have to go to elementary to high school. That's required. It's required straight off the bat. Hey, your child has to be in elementary, middle school, and high school. College, anything after high school, that's up to them. But they have to go to elementary through high school. Elementary, middle school, high school. That's required. It's there. They have to. But I will say this. Allegedly, they say, some kids that, their parents involved helped them. Like I said again, most of your favorite rappers are artists, whoever the case may be, half of them allegedly didn't have their parents helping them. They taught themselves at a young age. Certain stuff you teach yourself. And that's how I am. As I got older, certain stuff my parents didn't teach me, I taught myself, as well as for my parents. Certain stuff that their parents didn't teach them, they taught themselves because they were eager to know and grow and develop in this type, whatever educational standpoint or area it is, they wanted to grow, elevate, and blossom in it. And that rubbed off on me because certain stuff that I want to know, such as within my history, I learned that myself. I dig into it myself. And I never forget, I believe it was last semester. No, my first semester as officially a social work student, that one of my classmates, they was like, when it comes to education, she had mentioned that she feel like she's not learning a lot from her parents and teachers. And that was a debate. Long story short, I agreed with her and also the professor because, yes, the professors are encountered too, but it also starts from at home, as well as if you're intrigued on wanting to listen, we have the internet. Our generation has more resources than our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents stuff had, because we're able to type it, say it in the search bar. They couldn't. They had to go to the libraries. They had to sit and really look for it until they were at, like, certain points in their life, and okay, this when the internet came into play. But times has changed now. So it's like, hey, everything is there for us. We have it here in hand. Phones, tablets, and computers. We have it. So we got to use what we have to get what we want. If that makes sense. Especially when it comes to the educational aspect for our children. We have to make sure they're getting the access that they need, as well as the nutrients that they need, because they blossom every day. As well as making sure they understand what they're doing. Yes, they might understand, it might slip, But it's okay. You got to keep on. We got to keep on motivating them. We got to mold them to understand that this is important and this is what you need. So people will not ever play with you or try to play you. One thing a person cannot take from you is your education. They could try any and everything else, but education is something they cannot take from you. And I say this too, for the children as well as for us adults. Embrace the little things that they do. Especially if they were struggling with something and they were finally able to overcome it, celebrate them. You know, we always celebrate stuff as our birthdays, graduations, weddings, stuff like that. But we really don't celebrate the little obstacles in our life, especially if we struggled within it. Like, y'all, I lie to y'all not. When I passed my first ever test back in person, taking this class for the second time, and I was studying so hard, had tutors, I was using every resource that I wasn't using at first. Finally took that risk and used them resources. And I got a B on my math exam, my first math exam. I was shocked. I texted him up and fall. I texted him like, look, because it was so unbelievable. So we have to celebrate the little achievements that come their way, especially when it comes to education, because it's hard. Your child say, look, I need help. Internet is there. We're going to learn this together. Because I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't have children now like me, when we get older, my fear is the math. I'm sorry. I still fear from math. Because you know, like the little jokey joke that they be saying, oh, that's that new math. And I be like, yeah, I think this is that new math. Because I be like, what is this? Because I be like, what is... Like I said, math is not my strong point. But I was able to get it done because it was a must. That I challenged myself to be like, all right, this is my second time. Look, we're going to do this right, and we're going to do it the right way. We're going to use all the sources, X, Y, and Z, and we did that, and we passed. And look where we at now. On the road to degree number 2. Okay? I use my story to help anybody when it comes to having a testament for anybody. You never know who's going through the same boat as you. This is why I have Vibing with E. Because it's a stepping stone for me to help people. If I don't help a lot of people, long as I help somebody, that's all that matters. Okay? So just to sum up today's vibe of the day, you know, it's based on education and academic advancement for children are influenced by a range of factors, including stakeholders, investments, resources availability, and timely interventions. Key stakeholders such as parents/guardians, teachers, and policymakers play a crucial role in shaping a child's educational experience. Disparities in educational resources, particularly in low-income and rural areas, can improve academic success, but can be minimized through equability funding and targeting support. Early childhood is a crucial period for interventions in factoring such as social economic statuses, access to quality education, and parental involvement. The mic is just keep coming closer and closer, so we gotta fix it. Significantly, sorry guys, impacting a child's academics outstanding. So the questions, we always have questions I want you guys to think about as we leave. 1, how do you believe community involvement and support can improve children's outcome for children in under-resourced schools? And what strategies or programs can have you found most effective in addressing disparities in educational opportunities and academic achievements amongst children from different social economics background? So, as always, I hope you guys had enjoyed today's Bible today. I hope you guys had learned a few things or two, and I hope this will also help you with your children or just children, period, that you involve in with your biological or not biological children. Children, if you're a teacher, with anything involving with helping with children, I hope this helps you and mold you as well, because, like I said, we are the new adults, while the new aunties, uncles, and things like that. So we have to motivate our children, and we have to display the blueprint to them and give them the ins and outs of what's to come, and to also motivate them and to tell them, at times you're going to fail, but that's a part of life and it happens. It's okay. But one thing's for certain, the two things for sure, you're going to be smart as a whistle once I'm done with you, okay? So without further ado, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Please enjoy yourself on this lovely Wednesday. Peace and blessings to you all. Please be safe out here, because it is summertime and it's like the weather is giving like warm for one day, hot another day, and you just don't know what to expect the next day. So please stay hydrated, please stay safe, and please also display nothing but positivity. And as always, if you guys have any questions or concerns, you can text my DM at vibing dot with EVIBINGWITH.E. Okay? I wish you all nothing but the best. Peace, love, and hair grease. You guys will hear from me next Wednesday. Bye!